Okay, this is video 2 of how we make one of these little tetrahedrons. Essentially, we're coming back to this shape right here, which I started to show you. We're going to fold this to the middle. So this little line there that I've drawn right here, we're going to fold it to the middle and we're going to line it up. So my crease line lines up right with the middle, and then I crease it back. So I'm going to basically come back here and crease this back. Now, I start to get one side of my large equilateral triangle. I turn it around now, and this gets a little trickier. Now what I do is I take this side, and now I'm not using that point that I made there. What I'm actually doing now is I'm lining up this right here, this line, and that corner, so that this also folds to the middle. So this is a little tricky. This one, I have to kind of keep shifting it. You see I can shift it. I want to get that right to the middle point right there. I also want to get it to line up right with the corner. And then the last place I want to get it to line up with is that little dot I made. So over here. So when I do this, and I seam it along here, I start to get this shape where I have two sides that are exactly the same. This is a 60-degree angle. And then the last thing I do to make this part is I fold this side in right to the middle. You see the middle there underneath. I don't know if you can see that really well. But you fold the middle in. You fold the edges so they come right to the seam, right to the corner on both sides. You got to line it up, and then you seam it across. Now, this is a pretty perfect equilateral triangle. We did not measure anything. We just cut out a circle and then used folds to make a pretty beautiful equilateral triangle. The next thing I do is I find the line that's straight up. If you see in the seam right there, I have one line right there. I find that line and I go to the opposite corner and fold it over to that line. So I am gonna fold this point right to where that midpoint of that line, and I'm gonna hold that down and I'm gonna seam that across. So when I seam that across, I now have the first part of my tetrahedron. I have this side. I open that back up. I make a line right on that seam right there. So there's a line right here. And I'm going to fold this side into that gap. So now I'm folding the second side into that gap. So we're going to fold that. And I'm making this one out of paper, but cardstock works really well. Now I've got two sides. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I've got two sides of my equilateral triangle. And then the last side, I just fold up into the space. And when I fold this up into the space, I make it careful. I'm trying to do it fast, but I do it careful into that middle zone. And when I put it back all together, what I've got now is a really perfectly constructed, without measuring, just folding, tetrahedron with 4 equilateral triangles. And then I'm going to tape the top.